Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and welcome to the Sunday morning Srimad Bhagavatam reading and discussion with the Hare Krishna Society and the Prabhupada Disciples Association, which are really one group of people committed to the legacy of Srila Prabhupada in his unadulterated instructions and teachings. This particular point was made again this morning to me while listening to a Prabhupada lecture where Prabhupada was explaining about change. When people change things, people that are not qualified to change them, then what is the authority of the changed book or instruction? It has none, because the instruction is exact because it's being spoken either by Krishna in the Gita or by his bona fide representative, who is non-different than Krishna. Now someone could say, well, how could you possibly think that Prabhupada is in such an esteemed position? Because there are so many people claiming to be guru. It's true. When you go in the marketplace of spiritual research, you'll find so many different gurus or professors or teachers, etc., trying to become leaders in their own particular field. What for? For personal self-aggrandizement. Because this is the nature of material life. People want to establish a mark. They want to show, oh, look at how good I am at what I do. But a devotee, Prabhupada was saying, is always humble, because he realizes that his stay in the material world is very temporary. It's not a long time. And this week we had the unfortunate news that our beautiful godbrother of Prakrita Prabhu from Montreal, who is a Prabhupada disciple and a very great devotee of the Sankirtan mission, and in following the orders of Srila Prabhupada as a humble servant. This is the essence of our philosophy. Through this process of humble service, one can make great advancement internally in Krishna consciousness, because Krishna consciousness, Mother, is an internal realization of your relationship with your guru, which is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and with Lord Chaitanya, and with Krishna. And it comes through revelation, jnanam vijnanam, knowledge and practical application. Now, in this particular case with Srila Prabhupada, so many people are saying from other groups, oh, he wasn't the bona fide representative of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. This guru from this mutt or this sannyasi from this temple, they are the bona. This is complete mental speculation. It's not real. No, it's not. And how do we know? Because we're getting the mercy of Srila Prabhupada by constantly hearing from him. Yes, when you hear from a bona fide source, then you become enlightened in a very unique and special way. And when you apply yourself to the service, this combination of hearing and serving produces realizations. It's like you don't know, people don't know where the person is, like with Aprakrita. He was so focused, as Yashoda Nandana Prabhu explained to us, he stayed with Aprakrita at his house or his apartment. And while he was there, Aprakrita would get up every morning at 2:30 and begin to chant his rounds. He didn't have to get up. He could do whatever he wanted. But he wanted to get up and chant his rounds because he was carrying out the discipline of Krishna consciousness in accordance with the instructions of his spiritual master. To rise early in the morning, take bath, to chant Hare Krishna, to study the scriptures carefully, diligently every day, to offer food, your bhoga, to Lord Krishna through the spiritual master. Eat that, honor that food, honor it as prasadam. And then carry on throughout your day, remembering Krishna at every moment and remembering the mission of Lord Chaitanya like he did. This is called samadhi or trance. It's a simple process, as he demonstrated for all of us. And we totally celebrate his life as a devotee and disciple of Srila Prabhupada from Canada. Think about it. He's from Montreal. Who would have thought that a pure devotee like Aprakrita could be from Montreal? Well, this is the power of Srila Prabhupada. The power of the pure devotee is he can empower his disciples to do extraordinary things. Yes. And what did Aprakrita do that was so extraordinary? He followed the orders of his spiritual master without any concoction, without any adulteration, without any personal motivation. Think about it, Prabhus. We had a member of our group here in our presence for the whole time we've been operating this Prabhupada Disciples Association Hare Krishna Society class program. He came to every class, except when he wasn't sometimes feeling well, because he appreciated so much the opportunity to get association with bona fide disciples of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Yes, he could see it. And we can see it as a group. There are so many excellent devotees with us, and we do appreciate your association. This particular congregation of disciples is very unique in this world. Yes, it is. There's so much confusion after Prabhupada's disappearance, and we have discussed it in detail throughout our 300 programs. We have hundreds of hours of explanation of the truth for the benefit of those who, Prabhu, Pirangelo, who are really sincere. It's for sincere people, not for people that are frivolous or trivious or in trivial state, or cavalier. So many people take this thing in a cavalier, with a cavalier attitude. So thank you everyone for being with us, and know that Aprakrita Prabhu was an extreme example of how a devotee in the Prabhupada Disciples Association and Hare Krishna Society should act. Just like Jayananda. You're very much like Jayananda. I'm so inspired by him, all of us having known him personally, and hearing how he was expressing himself, Rochisha Devi Dasi. in his writings. Prakrita was this extremely intelligent writer of this philosophy. And you could judge his level of understanding by how he expressed himself in writing. So practicing the process, expressing it to others, engaging in the devotional service of the Lord without any profit, name, fame as a motivation. What more can I say? We're living amongst great people, and all of you are such good devotees of the Lord because you're very committed to this. You come on time to the program. That's very good. You understand how valuable it is. You mark it in your calendar. Oh, I have to go to the Sunday morning Bhagavatam class. It's only an hour and a half. Sometimes 2 hours, depends on who's with us. Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 3 times a week, we have a chance to congregate. And we're dovetailing the use of technology in the service of Krishna. And this is very good. And by the way, I wanted to compliment our production manager, Venkabhata Prabhu. I think it was him that put in this new section at the front of the class there. It was excellent. I love that. And all these, Rupesh made it. Okay. Thank you, Venkabhata. It's amazing, eh, Prabhus? How we're able to dovetail technology in the service of Krishna, and all of us be together like this on a transcendental platform. And very, one last point is very interesting how attentive everyone is. And this is a very valuable thing, because a lot of times when we were in the temples, we were working so hard, Yashodanandana Prabhu, if you recall, it was really hard to stay awake. I mean, I went to hundreds of classes, well, not hundreds, but maybe 150 of Prabhupada's classes personally, and it was hard for me to keep my eyes open. I'd be sitting there pinching my leg or, sitting up straight and, doing everything I could do to stay awake because we were working so hard to make all the arrangements for Prabhupada whenever he visited or wherever we visited him in India. So this here, our attention is very, very spot on, because of the nature of the technology. So I want to commend everyone on how much they are sticking to this process with us and gaining all the benefits there from it. So Hari Bol, glories to Prabhupada, and to Prakrita Prabhu, who is such a wonderful example for all of us to follow. Hari Bol. So now we're going to move forward with the reading from the diary. People are loving this so much, and because it is very educational, very informative, and gives us an example of how the pure devotee worked. We're going to go today into the January highlights. So we're already moving into 1966. So Prabhupada has his categories, or the categories are broken down into 3. One is the books. So on the 19th, 2 sets of books taken back from Paragon Book Gallery. So he was focusing on book distribution. On 20th, a letter to Chandrasekhar asked him to send 1 set of Bhagavatams to Sri Padampat Singhaniya. 24th, letter to Mr. Felix Morrow with Srimad Bhagavatam literature. So on the 25th, a letter from Mrs. Sally Argawal from Butler, Pennsylvania. intimating that she is taking my book to her new residence. One set of books taken by Mrs. Malopsky. She promises to pay on Thursday, the 27th of January, 1966. So Prabhupada's giving out books for credit. So we could also do that. Okay, I'll give you the book and you can pay me later. Unfortunately, last year I gave out 2 books to 2 people and they still haven't paid me, but I haven't forgotten. 2 Bhagavad Gitas. One set of books sold at the Universalist Church of the Divine Fraternity Central Park West at 76th Street, New York. Okay, so he's pushing out quite a few books here. Let's see, that's about 10 books. Mr. Cohen has taken away one set of books on approval on the 29th, on approval by His Divine Grace, and 2 sets of books received back from Paragon Book Gallery. Okay, so that's the books category, everyone. This is good to sort and classify your actions every day. Classes and kirtans. This is the next thing he was doing. He decided to purchase one tape recorder. Prabhupada purchased a tape recorder and the lectures were delivered in the studio on the test of spiritual realization. It means no more any artificial demand for the body and mind. So he's given a little bit of a summary here. On the 26th, there was a meeting at the Universal Church at 4 West 76th Street, 7 p.m. And he went to see the tape recorder, found no good. And on the 29th, there was a Gita meeting at studio at 4 p.m. Cohen came at 4 p.m. with friends and heard me 1.5 hours up to 5:30 p.m. Sri Sri Advaita Prabhu's appearance day. Letters and contacts. So again, you can look at your own particular schedule and see how you're filling in. You've got classes and kirtans with us, plus you have other programs you can do. I'm planning, by the way, to do a Bhagavad Gita reading at my ashram every day. And invite people, of course. Letters and contacts, 19th. By the grace of Sri Guru and Gauranga, an encouraging letter is received today from Sri Padampat Singh Hayania to see publication sale office of U.S. Government Office of Education, saw Mr. Malhotra of New India House. On the 20th, a letter to Ban Maharaj, who I personally met, had quite a bit of association with, relatively speaking, and we'll talk about that later. Sanction of exchange. He is requested to see Dr. Radha Krishna. Letters from Sri Padampat Singh Hayani and Chandra Shekhar replied. On the 21st, letter received from C.C. Doctor of Bombay. Mr. Bogart asked me to see him on Monday morning at his office at 866 United Nations Plaza. He has no place to stay, really, and he's meeting people at the United Nations Plaza. Extraordinary. On the 22nd, letter to Surya Kumar Joshi of AICC office, resanction, and to Bene Bhushan Datta. On the 24th, met with Mr. Larry Bogart, 9 a.m. He advised me to write to Mr. Felix Moreau for an appointment. A letter to Mr. Felix Moreau with Srimad Bhagavatam literature. He's spreading the mission. Letter on the 25th from Mrs. Sally Argawal. It appears she has not received my letter of January 66. 26th of January 1966. Letters to Sally Argawal, Miss H. Satale, Bureau of Libraries, and Dr. S. Farish, Asia Society. And on the 27th, he met Mr. Cohen. On the 28th, he saw Mr. Cohen at his place downtown. On the 29th, Mr. Hill informed me that Sachin Mazumdar can be reached by phone. Well, Prabhupada had no phone. Just remember that. He had no facility. And on the 31st, met two foundations, the Carnegie Foundation, a very big foundation of New York, and Russell Sage Foundation will contact again by phone. So amazing here in these early years how much organized work, devotional service Prabhupada was doing to carry out the order of his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. That was his goal, to please his guru. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava by Srila Prabhupada, and then the reading and discussion from the original Delhi Bhagavatams by His Grace, Yashodanandana Prabhu from Twain Harte, California. Hare Krishna.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Girivardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Ito Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Swami Ito Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the Assembled Lord. All glories to the Assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskrityam. Narayanam namaskrityam. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam. Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam Tato Jayam Mudirayat. Tato Jayam Mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supramost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyāsadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. As we do every week, we will be reading a few verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam, from Canto 1, Chapter 2, which explains the meaning and the benefit of hearing this great, powerful transcendental literature, Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you, Venkat Prabhu. Shushrushoho Sradadhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchihi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. O the twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all ranges of vice, a standard of great service is done. And as the result of such great service, affinity in the messages of Vasudeva is made possible. Srimad Bhagavatam 1-16. Next. Shrinvatam svakataha Krishnaha Punyashravana Kirtanaha Hridyantasto Hyabhadrani Vidhunoti Suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire from material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashta prayeshu babadrishu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Tadarajastamo bhava kamalo bhadayaschaye chetayeterana viddam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in a mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayati. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in a mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened-minded man affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. We will proceed with reading of the verse for today's reading. It should be noted we are reading from the original 1962 New Delhi Srimad Bhagavatam edition, with all synonyms, translations, and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Tasmin tadalabdaruchera mahamate priyashravasi askalati matir mata mama yayaham metat sadasat svamayaya pashye mayi brahmani kalpitam pari. Tasmin, it's so being. Tada, at that time. Labda, achieved. Ruchir, taste. Mahamate, great sage. Priyashravasi, upon the Lord. Ashkalitamati, uninterrupted attention. Mama, mine. Yaya, by which. Aham, I. Etat, all these. Sadasat, gross and subtle. Svamaya, one's own ignorance. Pashye, see. Brahmani, the supreme. Kalpitam is accepted. Para, in the transcendence. Translation. O great sage, as soon as I got some taste in the personality of Godhead, at once my attention became uninterrupted in hearing about my Lord. And by such development of taste, I could realize that by my ignorance only I had accepted the gross and subtle covering upon me, and the Lord, both of us, being transcendental. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Ignorance in the material existence is compared with darkness, and the personality of Godhead is compared with the sun in all the Vedic literatures. As such, wherever there is light, there cannot be darkness. Hearing of the Lord's pastimes means transcendental association of the Lord, because there is no difference between the Lord and his transcendental pastime. To become associated with the supreme light means dissipation of all ignorance. By ignorance only, the conditioned soul wrongly thinks that he is a product of the material nature, and so also the personality of Godhead. But in fact, all of them, the personality of Godhead, and the living being, are transcendental, and they have nothing to do with the material nature. When the ignorance is removed and it is perfectly realized that there is nothing existing without the personality of Godhead, the nescience is removed. The gross and subtle bodies being emanations from the personality of Godhead, the knowledge of light permits one to engage both of them in the service of the Lord. The gross body shall be engaged in acts of rendering service to the Lord, as to bring about water in the pot, cleansing the temple, or in the matter of obeisances, etc. The path of archana, or worshiping the Lord in the temple, is to engage one's gross body in the service of the Lord. Similarly, the subtle mind should be engaged in the matter of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, thinking about them, chanting his name, and all such activities are transcendental. None of the gross or subtle senses shall otherwise be engaged. Such realization of transcendental activities by the devotee is made possible by many, many years of apprenticeship in the devotional service, but simply by attraction of love in the personality of Godhead, as it was developed in Nārada Muni by hearing, is highly effective. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shwanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadate Visheshataha Adadana Strinam Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Shat Karomishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This text is very important. We see in the purport how Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the first paragraph, as such, wherever there is light, there cannot be darkness. A hearing of the Lord's pastimes means transcendental association of the Lord, because there is no difference between the Lord and his transcendental pastimes. Now, this is a very important point. If we go back the last text from last week, text number 26, Canto 1, Chapter 5, text 26, Prabhupada says, by such oral reception of the narration of the pastimes of the Lord, the hearer contacts directly the personality of Godhead, and as explained before, by hearing about the personality of Godhead from within, it causes clearance of all accumulated sins of the mundane creature. Now, this is a very important point, because we often see that some persons are preaching to us, telling us, oh, no, you need a living person. You cannot just hear from a book. Prabhupada is a past guru. He's a departed guru. But these purports here are very different. Prabhupada explains, hearing of the transcendental pastime means transcendental association of the Lord. This is very clear. It is not difficult to understand. It is not complicated. It is simple. Simply that we have to hear the message with a submissive attitude. And the same point is being explained by Srila Prabhupada last week. By such oral reception of the narration of the pastimes of the Lord, the hearer contacts directly the personality of Godhead. And as explained before, by hearing about the personality of Godhead from within, it causes clearance of all accumulated sins of the mundane creature. Now, in 1972 in Vrindavan, during the Nectar of Devotion lecture, Srila Prabhupada made a very, very interesting, powerful statement. Prabhupada said, if you are hearing the Nectar of Devotion written by Rupa Goswami, you are directly associating with Rupa Goswami. Well, somebody may say, well, how you're directly associating? Rupa Goswami was in the 1500s, and this lecture was given in 1972. But we are not on a bodily platform. This transcendental process of bhakti, following this mantra yoga process, is on the spiritual platform. The transcendental sound has no time limit. It can act anywhere, anytime. So by hearing submissively the message from an authorized personality like Srila Prabhupada, one associates directly with Srila Prabhupada and Srila Rupa Goswami. As a matter of fact, we know here, Prabhupada is saying you associate directly. Means transcendental association of the Lord. Last week it says, oral reception of the narration of the pastimes of the Lord, the hearer contacts directly the personality of Godhead. So one has to understand the difference between material sound and spiritual sound. Transcendental sound has nothing to do with the material world. Srila Prabhupada many times explained in a song by Narottam Das Thakur, Golokera Premadana Harinama Samkirtana, that this chanting of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is from the spiritual world, from Goloka Vrindavan. And as such, this transcendental sound of Harinam Samkirtana is very purifying because it comes from Krishna himself. It doesn't matter whether one is in Sacramento, California, in Calgary, Alberta, Montreal, Canada, in London, England, Paris, France, Mongolia, Japan, South America, anywhere. The sound, the connection of the transcendental sound will act. Why? This is explained by Srila Prabhupada also. This is from the Padma Purana, and Prabhupada quoted that many times. That this transcendental sound, it says, Abhinatvam Nama Namino, Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta. This transcendental sound is pure, it is complete, it is always liberated from any material association. And the Nama, or Krishna, is non-different than the Nami, than the name. The person Krishna and the name Krishna is non-different. And this is Krishna's special benediction in this age of Kali Yuga. Because in Kali Yuga, the influence of the mode of passion and ignorance, or Rajagun and Tamagun, is very strong. As such, Krishna has given a special benediction for people of the age of Kali Yuga. In the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam, when Sukadeva Goswami was ready to conclude his discussion, his dissertation on the transcendental Srimad Bhagavatam itself, he mentioned that the age of Kali is actually blessed. Why? Because in this age, there are many faults. Kaler doshanide rajan. Doshanidem, it's an ocean of faults. There are so many difficulties everywhere. Asmin could, but there is one great quality. What is that? Simply by chanting the name of Krishna even once. Kaler doshanidira asmine ko mahan gunaha. Mahan guna means one great quality in this age. What is that great quality? By chanting once the name of Krishna, one can immediately become liberated. Because this is the power of the name of Krishna. Now, in previous ages, such as Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, the various processes of self-realization took a long time. Prabhupada often related that in the age of Satya Yuga, or the Golden Age, people used to live for 100,000 years. The mode of goodness was very, very prevalent. And people used to engage in meditation. That's how they achieved self-realization. In other ages, there were great, great sacrifices, great fire sacrifices that people used to do. In the previous age of Dwapara Yuga, big temple worship. Dwapariyera janer Vishnu panchara trestu kevale. Kalau tu nama matrina pujyate Bhagavan Hariri. This is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada quoted from Madhvacharya, who quotes from the Narayana Samhita explaining, Dwapariyera janer Vishnu panchara trestu kevale. In the previous yuga, the worship, the center of worship was very elaborate, complex temple worship based on Pancharatra literatures. As a matter of fact, in South India, there are many temples all the way from Dwapara Yuga, such as Tirupati, Srirangam, other places that are very, very old temples. This was from the time when people used to do this kind of Pancharatrika worship, very elaborate worship. But in Kali Yuga, Kalo tu nama matrina, in this age, simply by chanting the name of Lord Vishnu, the name of Lord Krishna, one can solve all problems. Now, this is the benediction of Lord Chaitanya's movement. Prabhupada said that this movement is an incarnation of Krishna. That's why he requested, don't change it. Don't adulterate it. Don't mess it up. Don't change the teachings. Don't do this, don't do that. Because Prabhupada knew the minute you start changing, it creates one problem after the other. Prabhupada was especially concerned when he said the greatest danger to our movement is when we invent new ways to worship the deity. Why not just follow the instruction that has been given? In 1977, I was in Prabhupada's room in Vrindavan, where he requested one devotee to go to Mathura and purchase some medication for some eye infection. He told him to go to a specific pharmacy, get a specific medicine, pay a specific price. So the devotee went to Mathura, as instructed by Prabhupada. Unfortunately, he didn't get the proper medicine, went to the wrong pharmacy and paid the wrong price. He came back to Srila Prabhupada. When Prabhupada saw it, he says, yeah, this is the problem with you Westerners and Americans. This changed disease. Why can't you just follow the instruction? Another time, one of Prabhupada's servants in Bombay in 1970, the devotees had rented a large flat in a building near the ocean called Akash Ganga. And at night, Prabhupada used to take milk, but Prabhupada was diabetic, so he didn't take sugar with the milk. It was just warm milk. But in India, if you get milk and you don't tell them what you want, a lot of time it's going to end up like a meal. They're going to put sliced cashews, sliced walnuts, some cream, all different kinds of sugar, syrup, and it's different than milk. So he brought this elaborate concoction of all different kinds of things, bring it to Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada looked at it and he says, what is this? So the servant said, well, it's your milk, Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, no. I said, just bring warm milk. Prabhupada, when the spiritual master gives you an instruction, just follow it as it is. Don't try to be smarter or more intelligent. Just do it as it is. And this is the great benefit of having Srila Prabhupada's transcendental instruction in these books. And there's a reason why there are certain principles to be followed to understand the meaning of these books. Why is it that some person read these same books and come to an entirely different understanding? Why? Why is it when you try to start a fire, just like where we live here in California, in the mountains, in the forest, in the winter, it's going to get a little cold. So we have experience. If you try to start a fire with wood that is still wet, it's going to take a little longer, depending on the wetness of the wood. If you cure the wood in the sun for several months in the summer, that will dry the wood. That will dry the wood nicely. And Prabhupada explains that depending on the contamination of the influence of the mode of passion and ignorance, a person will not be able to understand Krishna consciousness. In the case of devotees, is the contamination of this disease of profit, adoration, and distinction, and personal ambition, and so many other weeds. These weeds prevent the devotee or aspiring devotee or neophyte devotee, whether they're a Madhyam devotee or a Kanishta devotee, from properly understanding what is given by the spiritual master. That's why Prabhupada says, as it is. What did we read the other day on Wednesday? We've read this several times. Chapter 4, text 42 of Bhagavad Gita, the last two sentences. One should be aware of persons who are simply after sense gratification, self-aggrandizement. This process is not a showboating process. It's not a process of posing and posturing. One has to be sincere. One has to learn the art of being devoid of personal ambition. Prabhupada warned about this so many times, practically every day. If you carefully read Lord Chaitanya's instruction to Rupa Goswami in the Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 19, of how the seed of bhakti grows, there are warnings. There are clear warnings what to avoid, what to do, and what not to do. Prabhupada says in one purpose, if one is not fortunate to receive the seed of bhakti from the spiritual master, instead he cultivates the karma bij, the jnana bij, or social, political, or philanthropic bij. There's a lot of different seeds according to the mental condition of the person that is given those seeds. Prabhupada was completely pure. What he gave was a seed of bhakti, but depending on the recipient, because we see, like so many people raise the question, well, what happened to so many of these devotees? They had so much association with Srila Prabhupada. They went on morning walks. They got so many dozens of letters from Prabhupada. They spent so much time with it. How is it that some of them messed up so much? Prabhupada gives the warning. What are you cultivating? What are you hearing? Prabhupada warned in a letter in July of 1970, as soon as personal motivation comes in, it is not possible to understand this Krishna consciousness philosophy. Thank you very much. To whom it may concern. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very well done. And we certainly appreciate your insights and how you relate your realizations directly to the pastimes that you have personally had with Srila Prabhupada, which gives us real great insight for many of us who never had this association. So by your sharing this opportunity that you had with all of us, we're also having the same experience by your grace. And this is how transcendental knowledge is transmitted from one person to the next without any change. A lot of these people that have been a part of this change disease never had any association personally with Srila Prabhupada. Interesting. Yet they claim that they're the bona fide representatives of Srila Prabhupada in this disciplic succession. So this type of hypocrisy goes on. Why, Yashodanandana, does this go on? Because so many people are adulterated with personal desire. And this personal desire for material success using Krishna as their product or Prabhupada as their product to justify their existence is the basis of their motivation. It's a business. Everybody in the material world wants money. Yes. Some people do it by work. In this particular case, since Prabhupada's demise, they used the system of Krishna consciousness to accumulate wealth. Now, most people would think, do they get very much money? Do they? How's millions and millions of dollars, everyone? Some of us may not have experience in what it takes to make millions of dollars, but think about it. When you're in the ISKCON group, you can become a multimillionaire overnight because you have some sincere person searching for truth and you're presenting yourself as a guru to them and they have millions of dollars and then all of a sudden they start to give you millions of dollars because they think, oh, if I give it to this person, I'll become blessed with spiritual enlightenment. And that's why in the ISKCON group, it's become the Hindu church. Think about it, especially in the West here. Yes, there are a lot of people in the temples, but they're Hinduized. The Hinduization of his Hare Krishna movement has taken place because of the ambitions of a few people to get money. Followers, nadanam najanam nasindarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaya. So many followers, so many beautiful women, all kinds of money. This is a material disease. That's all. So this is going on. As we know, Prabhupada had said, and I've been hearing it regularly in his lectures, there are so many people in India, he goes, that are pretending to be God. You're claiming to be God, but you're dog. Actually, I told this past time, I want to read a section from the Gita I think you'll find very interesting. We were on a morning walk in Toronto with Srila Prabhupada in the Don Valley Park Way. So I'd pick different spots for him to go because I wanted Prabhupada to walk around Toronto and sanctify the city. So we went to the beaches and every day we had different destinations. So we go to Don Valley Park and then we went to the Parliament buildings. We walked around the Parliament buildings and around the statue of Prabhupada. It was a very interesting experience for all of us. We had a large group of people. I let everybody come on the walk that could get a ride for themselves. But anyway, we're back at Don Valley Park, and Prabhupada was walking along. He had his cane. Now, back then, everybody used to let their dogs pass stool wherever they did. That was back in the 70s. There wasn't the rule of stoop and scoop. So we stopped in the Don Valley Park. They had just put up these new signs. And Prabhupada took his cane, he pointed up like this. We all looked up. Okay. And it was a sign, stoop and scoop. And it showed somebody with a little shovel picking up dog stool. It was an instruction to everyone, please keep the public areas clean. And Prabhupada laughed. He goes, yes, his cane was up like this. This is the difference between us and them. These people, they're worshiping dog and we worship God. So this type of difference is the mentality of devotee. And this mentality was taught to us by Srila Prabhupada. Through his divine instructions and words, it was interesting to note how today's purport, the understanding of the words of the spiritual master are so valuable, and we should listen to them in an uninterrupted manner, which is what we do here at these classes. And I mentioned that earlier. This use of technology gives us a chance to focus, Mother, not to wander around mentally and think about everything else that we're doing during the day. Here we get a chance to focus and absorb the information into our consciousness, and in this way become purified. We're reading, as we move along in our journey here, we're moving across Canada by car, myself and my son. So in the car, we're reading, we have about an hour and a half Gita class, where I simply read, because I've been reading the Gita anyway, so I thought Yashodanandana Prabhu continue the program with my son. It's an opportunity for us to study the books together. And it's really quite enlivening for both of us, I must say. And we're so focused because we're in the car. It's a capsule. There's no noise. We're driving down the road, and all we can do is hear the philosophy. So I was reading this very long purport in chapter 13, text 8 to 12. And there was a few highlights that I wanted to point out here in today's program. So we're going to go to the purport on page 631, text 8 to 12, on simplicity. Simplicity means that without diplomacy. One should be so straightforward that he can disclose the real truth even to an enemy. As for acceptance of the spiritual master, that is essential, because without the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master, one cannot progress in the spiritual science. So here it's important to note, bona fide spiritual master, not an elected guru in an institution. One should approach the spiritual master with all humility and offer him all services so that he will be pleased to bestow his blessings upon the disciple. Because a bona fide spiritual master is a representative of Krishna, if he bestows any blessings upon his disciple, that will make the disciple immediately advanced without the disciples following the regulated principles. Interesting. Just by focused hearing from the spiritual master, not from any other source, everyone. Or the regulated principles will be easier for one who has served the spiritual master without reservation, because we have 4 regulated principles that we try to follow, and sometimes it's difficult to follow them. But if we make the connection with Srila Prabhupada properly, Prabhupada's saying it'll be easier. Cleanliness, Prabhupada says, is essential for making advancement in spiritual life. There are 2 types of cleanliness, external and internal. External cleanliness means taking a bath, But for internal cleanliness, one has to think of Krishna and always and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This process cleans, now listen to this carefully, Mataji, cleans the accumulated dust of past karma from the mind. Steadiness means that one should be very determined to make progress in spiritual life. Determination, not weak-mindedness, not self-aggrandizement, just determination to serve humbly. Without such determination, one cannot make tangible progress. And self-control means that one should not accept anything which is detrimental to the path of spiritual progress. This is the example Aprakrita Prabhu gave to us. Not accept anything which is detrimental. He spent all of his time focused throughout the day in the service of Srila Prabhupada as he personally described his schedule to people online. One should become accustomed to this and reject anything which is against the path of spiritual progress. And this is real renunciation. The senses are so strong that they are always anxious to have sense gratification. One should not cater to these demands which are not necessary. So, some thoughts for everyone on this Sunday morning Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. We'll go back to our professor of knowledge, Yashodanandana Prabhu, the PhD, and let him speak further.
I don't know about PhD or professor. I'm just an aspiring servant trying to become a servant. That this is a very important point. From the life of Apakrita, we've learned one thing. Because everybody knew about the life of Jayananda and
Yes.
why Srila Prabhupada considered Jayananda such a pure devotee. Because he was completely surrendered, completely devoted, with no personal trace of any kind of personal ambition, always thinking about serving Prabhupada and Krishna. Apakrita was the same way. He had no personal motive. Every year in Montreal, he organized what's called a mini Ratha Yatra in a park. He would get the permit from the city of Montreal. He would advertise the festival, little Jagannath deities, and he would invite devotees, and sometimes 25, 30, 50 devotees would show for the procession, Kirtan, Prasadam, Nandikeshwar Prabhu, Ramananda Prabhu, many exalted souls there came. But his dedication was just absolutely amazing, just like Jayananda. And it was our good fortune that we got to know him. As I said before, I spent like 2 days with him in Montreal in 2008 on my way to Quebec City. And I was just amazed at his program. It was just like, 2:30 in the morning, he's up chanting 25 rounds. He's doing service all day, preaching, sending books, going to the post office to mail books, on the internet, talking to people, preaching to people on the phone constantly. It's not that he did it part-time and there was no nonsense with him. Complete, total dedication. A very, very nice example of a really solid, pure devotee, as Prabhupada would expect from all of us. So this is a very important point, because we see in the life of many devotees that sometimes they slip, and we have to learn how to follow the Acharya properly. I want to read from a lecture from Srimad Bhagavatam from Srila Prabhupada on November 30th, 1976. November 30th, 1976. I'm trying to find this phone to shut it up. Oops. Okay, here we go. This is a lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam from Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 6, text number 8, Vrindavan, November 30th, 1976. a very important instruction from Srila Prabhupada. What Krishna said 5,000 years ago, the same thing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, same thing. There was no change. And there was no change between the statement of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Narottam Das Thakur. Sadhu Shastra. As Shastra, there is no change. Not that modernized, the Shastra should be changed. No, that is nonsense. That is not Shastra. Shastra cannot be changed. Circumstantially, it will be changed, seasonal changes. No, that is not Shastra. Shastra means it is spiritual, perpetual. What Krishna said 5,000 years ago, or Krishna said some 40 millions ago to the sun god, Imam Vivaswati Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam. Bhagavad Gita 4:1, he says, I'm talking to you that Puratanam Yogam, not that because it has passed millions of years and now it is a different time, so I will have to change. No. He said, I'm talking to you that very old system, is it not? Just see, the Shastra cannot be changed. God's word cannot be changed. He's always perfect. He's always perfect. What he said 40 million years ago, what he said 5,000 years ago, that is also correct, up to date. That is Shastra. Not that so many years have passed. So again, this is a very important point to recognize why Srila Prabhupada's purports and his explanation are so important. Prabhupada is receiving direct connection from Krishna, direct inspiration, direct transcendental link with Krishna. And what he says should never be changed, not one word. Hare Krishna.
Yes. And just further, and we'll have our friend Dharma Bhavana speak. There is no difference between the instructions of the spiritual master and the instructions of Lord Krishna. They're both on the same transcendental platform of truth. It's identical. So anyone that dares to change the words of the spiritual master is challenging the authority of Shastra, of scripture, and this is a mistake. That's why we insist that everyone understand that Prabhupada is Diksha and Siksha Guru. Both. He is the instructor spiritual master, and he is the initiating spiritual master because he lives in Vani, his sound incarnation. And this particular understanding is not there in his movement that he started. In fact, recently, Gopal Krishna, who recently passed away, he stressed this point to his disciples. Someone sent me a note on it, Yashodanandana. He says, Prabhupada is Siksha Guru. Why? Because he became Diksha Guru, Gopal. I'm Diksha Guru. Prabhupada is simply your Siksha Guru. This is a great offense against our disciplic succession, and it is a major contaminated state of consciousness for these people. Therefore, in conclusion, before we go to Dhamma, that whole movement is Sahaja, period. The Prashadam, the Kirtans, the lectures, the changed books, it's all adulterated with this one serious defect. They do not understand the transcendental position of Srila Prabhupada as Diksha and Siksha Guru. And we challenge any of our God brothers, come before us and prove it to us, and we'll show you you're absolutely wrong. Dharma Bhavana, please, in Dallas, Texas. Maybe you're in Florida now.
Okay, Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, we were on a vacation for a couple of weeks and got a chance to meet some great devotees, sometimes even the great Vaishnava devotees. Prabhupada disciples are sometimes not really organized. So at the same time, Zoom meetings have already helpful. It brings the devotees together for association. One of the points where I made it like in our society, when someone doesn't follow the instructions of the bona fide spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, we can expect that all different types of complications will happen. We went by one place, building a multi-million-dollar temple, very, very beautiful, elaborate, not quite finished yet. And now the new management wants to kind of push out the old management, and they're arguing about whose name is on the title or something like that. So it's so important to actually avoid this idea of minimizing Srila Prabhupada. I give an example. There are a couple of Mayavadi temples here locally, Radha Krishna temples. And when I went to one grand opening eight years ago, they had a 12-inch deity of Radha Krishna. And next to this deity is a 8-foot tall, kind of a paper statue of a long-haired bearded man. And I got to understand that this is a Mayavad. They want to make Krishna small and some ordinary person big. And so similarly, those who are in kind of the Gaudiya Vaishnava mission want to minimize Srila Prabhupada, it's also a similar kind of thing. If we minimize Krishna or minimize the Supreme Personality of Servant of Godhead, it's a great problem, and will keep us from advancing and having real Krishna consciousness. So I just thought to make those few comments. Thank you. Appreciate your program. Haribo.
Glory to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, association. And I would suggest for our membership, if you get a chance to get our invitation card. I was on the road yesterday, Yashodanandana Prabhu. I went downstairs to the front desk, and there was an Indian gentleman there. Oh, he walked up to me. He was like all excited to meet me from Michigan. Oh, I said hello, and then we started to talk for a minute, and then he wanted to take a selfie with me. I go, okay, Hare Krishna. So I said, hold on, here, I have a card for you. So he came up to my room. I gave him our card, invitation card to our classes. Because these classes, Dharma Bhavana, are bona fide classes that Prakrita Prabhu recognized over and over and over again with us. And that is the point. If you want to get information on the truth of the matter, because so many people that were former members of our mission are confused. So much confusion and adulteration, and there is no question of that. And so I gave this guy our card. I said, because what can we say? Meeting someone, you could try to distribute a book to him, but I wasn't even ready. I just came off the elevator and I ran into this Indian couple, and the conversation, went on like that. But I gave him a card anyway. I said, come to our classes. Will he attend? I don't know. But what we can explain in a few minutes, we've explained in hundreds of hours to other people, including our God brothers and God sisters who are somewhat lost in their own world of living and surviving based on their circumstances, which are unfortunate. Yashodanandana Prabhu, could you further comment?
Well, it's very important because what happened is many persons seems to think that they know. Well, this is a very important distinction because, as you mentioned several times in these discussions, everybody has got an opinion. This is fine. We don't dispute the fact that everybody can have is entitled to their pious beliefs, to their opinions. But not everybody has got the knowledge, the proper knowledge, the real knowledge. And this is confirmed by Srila Prabhupada in a conversation where Prabhupada says, everybody's got an opinion, but not everybody's got the knowledge. And we see this amongst the devotees. I mean, since 1978, I've literally have had hundreds, if not thousands of discussions with so many devotees on various topics. And I hear people say, I think, in my opinion, in this and that. And okay, well, it's nice. Everybody is entitled to think whichever way they want. But my point is, where is the evidence from Srila Prabhupada? Where is the record from Srila Prabhupada for their pious belief or their opinions? And this is the difficulty we have, because what happened is those persons who have distorted Srila Prabhupada's teachings, changed Prabhupada's teachings, and deliberately misrepresented Prabhupada's statements to the society in 1978 about his so-called mythical appointment, and totally changed the entire course of the society. They have affected the lives of thousands, hundreds of thousands of devotees, and millions of people in a negative way. And 46 years later, you can still see the effects, the negative effects of that hoax, that nonsense propaganda. I've often quoted that conversation between Prabhupada and Shyam Sundar, where Prabhupada was talking about Mao Zedong and the communist system. And Prabhupada made a point that if your philosophy is not based on truth, it will not last. You may do whatever propaganda you want, it will not last. So this is the problem that we're facing. Many persons have been victimized by false propaganda of these misleaders. People should not fall prey to this nonsense propaganda. They should return back to Prabhupada and question what is it that they're saying. And we see this on so many levels. The book changes, the changes in the kirtan, the changes in the deity worship, the changes in the prasadam, the changes in the philosophy. So many nonsense, crazy ideas that are being propagated simply for personal profit, adoration, and distinction. People should be aware of that and not fall prey and become victimized to their nonsense propaganda. And I'm sure Vishwakarma Prabhu, our friend in Florida, and Ilyas Prabhu, are sure he has something to say about this very important topic.
Yes, well, we'll call upon him to speak as we're ending the program. Go ahead, Nilesh.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yashanandan Prabhu, I have a question for you. If I'm posing, for all those people who are posing that they are Diksha Gurus and that Prabhupada is a Shiksha Guru, my question is, isn't the Diksha Guru supposed to be on the Uttam Adhikari platform? And if he is on the Uttam Adhikari platform, he is the Tattva Darshinaha, the one who has seen the truth, then why does he need another person to be a Shiksha Guru? Because he can teach that Tattva Darshina, that truth which he has already seen, and he can teach that. So why does he depend on somebody else to be a Shiksha Guru when he himself has seen everything? And seeing what the Vyas Puja has done in their honor and how they are revered and worshipped as the Uttam Adhikari platform, they should be able to teach. Why don't they teach? And if they also are on the Uttam Adhikari platform, tell me which preceding Acharya changed the words of the preceding Acharya. So, if you are truly a Tattva Darshina, why did you change Prabhupada's books? And why can't you teach what you see, which is the truth? Because you're the Tattva Darshina. So then it does not make sense, even though if they project themselves as Diksha Gurus, and they still want to keep Prabhupada as the Shiksha Guru because they are incapable of giving the Shiksha in that truthful format as the way Prabhupada has given it. So that is why they have to change that truthfulness into untruthfulness, is because they themselves are untruthful. So I would like to know what you have to say about that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Well, thank you for your question. It's just definitely a fact that there have been various misrepresentations and misunderstandings of Prabhupada's teachings by persons who claim to have been appointed or voted in or elected as Diksha Gurus. And a lot of it stems from what Vishwakarma Prabhu has explained earlier, that people do not understand who is Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is Tattvadarshi, and Tattvadarshinaha. He has personally seen the truth, personally seen Krishna, perfectly realized Krishna. He's the bona fide representative, the bona fide ambassador of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And before people can start claiming that they're Diksha gurus, how does Prabhupada define Diksha? How does he define initiation in various discussions, letters, in his books? This is the problem. They go back to this bodily concept, Vapuvad philosophy. Yesterday, I gave the example of this devotee, Makan Chor, who never met Srila Prabhupada physically, but yet he was a disciple. He accepted Prabhupada because they don't understand that the Diksha means the passing of transcendental knowledge. Divyam jnanam nyato dadyat kuryat papasya sankshayam. The sins of the disciple, this is not an electrical process, like some nonsense guru that he touches it and you become electrified. No. Divyam jnanam nato dadyat kuryat papasya sankshayam. The clearing of the sins of the disciple is given by the transcendental knowledge given by the guru, by the transcendental teachings of Prabhupada, by the transcendental books of Prabhupada, by the transcendental only name given by Srila Prabhupada. This is how initiation, this is how the sins are being cleared. But these people, they think it's some kind of a bodily electric process. And that the point that you're making, if they're such tattvadarshina and such realized souls, why did they find it convenient to change Prabhupada's words from he has seen the truth to they have seen the truth? Why did they delete in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that Jagannath Das Babadi initiated Bhaktivinoda Thakur, although Bhaktivinoda Thakur historically had been initiated by somebody else? In what sense of the word is Srila Prabhupada mentioning the word initiated? That they have never studied. That is why they're changing the books, to twist the philosophy, to change the philosophy for political agenda. That is why. From he has seen the truth to they have seen the truth. From some Jagannath Das Babaji initiated Bhaktivinoda Thakur to some other nonsense interpretation. These changes are blasphemous and a complete offense against Srila Prabhupada and the whole parampara. Prabhupada is not just somebody who just dropped from heaven. He's representing the whole disciplic succession, and no disciple has the right to change one word of Srila Prabhupada's teachings. How many words have they changed in the Bhagavad Gita under the plea of grammatical embellishment? This is a very dangerous crowd of people. Devotees should not listen to these people, should never expect their nonsense explanations. They are deviants who do not represent Srila Prabhupada, who do not represent the disciplic succession, and they should be avoided. Just like Lord Chaitanya has told us to avoid the Mayavadis, those persons who have changed Prabhupada's books, twisted his instruction, and the whole long list of deviations should be avoided. Very simple instruction. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your insights and realization, Prabhu. Very welcome. Your point about Tattvadarshina is a very, very important argument. Very important.
Okay, so thank you. And Prabhupada used to say this, Mataji, and these things are going on. So we have to be mindful and at the same time stay focused on the transcendental process that Prabhupada has given us in his books and his letters and his instructions. And if we do, we'll be happily engaged in devotional service as a transcendental group of devotees protecting his legacy. So thank you very much. And remember, this coming year of 2025, we're going to be holding an initiation ceremony in Mexico. And there's a group of people wanting to get initiations as a Prabhupada disciples, and we use the Ritvik system for that. So if anybody in our group, there are many of you who are very serious about your spiritual life, if you're interested in initiation as a Prabhupada disciple, please get a hold of us and we'll discuss the methodology that we use in order to bring that initiation to you while we're still present in this world as servants of our spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And thank you again for attending the program. We're going to see all of you on Wednesday. Unfortunately, no classes for the next 3 days, but you can make your own classes, do your own study, and come equipped on Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Canada time and different times throughout the world, and be a part of this transcendental experience of blissfulness. Satchidananda. This is bliss. This is what the Mayavadi philosophers cannot experience. They can experience Sat, they can experience Chit, but they cannot have any bliss. There's no happiness. Let's move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna. Chant along, everyone. It's only 2.5 minutes. Don't drop out. And then we'll see you later on the transcendental journey back home, back to Godhead. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindobhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and were full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in this reading and discussion. Thank you, Vishwakarma, for managing this discussion. Venkat Prabhu, Ripesh Prabhu, Nilesh Sharma Prabhu, Roshisa Mataji, Patricia Tellis, and everybody who participated in this program, Pier Angelo, also everybody that participated. We greatly appreciate your participation. Hare Krishna, Pier Angelo Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. And we welcome you again to come on Wednesday, Bhaktaran, Chaitanya Nishinga, everybody, Kanta Prabhu, Triloka Vijay, on Wednesday at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 8 o'clock Florida time, or 8 o'clock Toronto time, Canada. Thank you very much, and all glories to His divine grace. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.